What's up guys, I'm Shane and this is Spare Change. Here on the channel, we discuss all things audio and video, like new movies and new AV equipment. So if it's your first time here, consider tapping that subscribe button for new weekly videos. Today we have a Patreon requested review, 2016's The Accountant on 4K Blu-ray. I'm not going to review the movie itself, I'm just going to share with you some of my thoughts on the video and the audio quality. Now, let's go over a few tech specs. The movie was shot on 35mm. It's got a 2K DI. It's rated R. Runtime is 128 minutes. Aspect ratio is 235:1, which means it's got those black letterbox bars. This is one of those transfers that makes you double check to see if you've got the 4K or the regular Blu-ray in the player. Bouncing back and forth, you should see incremental improvements in resolution, and it's a tad better in color. Since the movie was shot on film, the grain structure is better resolved here. It's got a tighter, less noisy consistency, so it will give the movie a cinematic, filmic appearance. Detail-wise, I'd say it's marginally better than the 1080p version, although it might be harder to distinguish which is which if you're watching on a 65 or smaller display. Close-ups are hit and miss between the two. Wrinkles, pores, and other minute facial details are clean, but definitely not razor sharp. You're not going to mistake this for a top-tier 4K transfer. Far-field shots fare a bit better with cleaner, sharper edges, but again, it's not a night and day difference with the regular Blu-ray. As for HDR, there is a very subtle increase in overall picture brightness. Specular highlights get improved with reflective surfaces, lights, etc. gaining a bit more pop. As for the color palette, you're not going to confuse this for Flash Gordon. Colors are on the warmer side with sepia, orange, and teal hues, although the movie does look dull and muted. So things like skin tones, rather than having a peachy, rosy appearance, falls more on the pale side. Some shots are better than others, and again, this looks very much like the standard Blu-ray. Black levels I thought could crush some details in the very darkest scenes, and other times they were more elevated and grayish, which I suppose falls in with the dull look and tone of the movie.
Do you like it?
No, not particularly, but...
Audio is in DTS HD 7.1, so there's no immersive mix here. The movie, despite looking like an action flick, is very dialogue-driven, so going with an immersive mix might not have made that big of a difference. There is good ambiance within the movie, like outdoor effects that fill in the lower channels nicely and gives the movie a big feel. Some notable moments are the voices that circle around the room in Chapter 5 when Batman is solving the missing money problem. The shootout in Chapter 6 I think rivals Fury for sheer subwoofer bass impact. When Bruce fires off that gun, it makes you feel like you're at an actual shooting range. It happens abruptly and bangs crazy hard. So as far as bass response, which only happens during a few shootouts, is some of the hardest hitting bass I've heard in a movie. It's surprisingly impressive. As for dialogue, it was always anchored in the center channel, except for the voices moving around the room in Chapter 5, and it was always easy to understand what people were saying. So for audio, I'm going to go with an 8.5. I don't think an Atmos or DTS-X mix would have made a huge difference. The 7.1 mix served the movie just fine, and you do get some good atmospheric phantom imaging up top during the action scenes. Bass can get crazy during the shootouts, so your subwoofers will get a pretty good workout. For video, I'm going to go with a 7.8. I didn't feel there was a big enough difference between this and the regular HD version. There's some subtle improvements in resolution and color, but if nobody told you, you'd probably think it was just regular HD. Now whether or not it's worth a couple bucks more for the slight increases, that's going to be totally up to you. But I do think the movie is a good enough watch to pick it up either way. So the question is, who would win in a fight? Chris Wolfe or John Wick? Leave a comment and let us know. Now if you want to grab this movie, I'll leave some links for it in the video's description. As always guys, thanks for watching. If you want, you can follow us on social media, and if you want to support the channel and get exclusive content or great discounts on audio and video gear, then stop by our Patreon page. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys again in the next one.